Hi guys, so Nick Ferrari from LBC is going to attack Nicola Sturgeon here in this video. Well, generally because he doesn't agree with Scottish independence and he doesn't agree with the SNP and he doesn't like Nicola Sturgeon. He's trying to inflate a problem that really isn't that serious of a problem. Now, what happened? So Nick is talking here about Will and Kate of the royal family travelled north into Scotland to meet with members of the NHS to thank them for their hard work during the pandemic. And this is commendable. I fully support them in doing this. And the Scottish government support them as well. The only problem, if you can call it a problem, was that the Scottish government said to the royal family, please be aware that there are restrictions in place in Scotland at the moment. So if you arrive here, as far as I know, they did not say don't come here. They just said be aware that there are restrictions. Now, of course, members of the Conservative Party in Scotland are attempting to throw anything they can at the wall. And what that wall is that wall being Nicola Sturgeon. They're throwing any types of insults, any types of problems at her and hoping something will stick. And of course, they have their friends in the media down in England, like, for example, Nick Ferrari and others, who are very happy to do their bidding, in a sense, to attack Nicola Sturgeon on anything. Now, as I said, as far as I can see, and Nick doesn't actually give you any more detail, so we have to assume that he doesn't have any more detail. As far as we can see, Nicola Sturgeon asked the royal family to be aware that there are restrictions when you come to Scotland. Now, I don't consider this rude. I don't consider this malice. I don't consider this in any way negative. It's just explaining, look, you are the royal family, you're welcome. We understand that you're not ordinary citizens, but during a pandemic, everyone has to, play their part. Everyone has to respect the rules. Just because you're the royal family doesn't mean that you're outside the rules, that you don't have to follow those rules. So let's hear what Nick had to say about all of this.
She went on, the royal visit is a matter for the royal household and the arrangements around it, and any questions about those arrangements should be directed to the royal household. Now, of course, no spokesman or woman has come forth, but as royal sources point out, the visits were planned in consultation with the Scottish and Welsh governments, and of course the United Kingdom government. Travelling across the border is permitted for work purposes, and the couple have gone to Scotland to carry out work, thanking frontline workers.
And I commend them for doing that. But was this really the right time to do it in the middle of the pandemic? Some people will say, well, it isn't really work. Others will say it is work because it's their job. Their job is to do exactly things like this. For me, it's not so much the problem of whether it was work or not. Well, my problem with it is this the right time to do it? Would it not be better maybe to wait until later when the restrictions have been eased?
Miss Sturgeon now faces a backlash. One Conservative MP who decided not...
A backlash of one. Not exactly a huge backlash, is that, Nick? As I said before, there are Conservative MPs, Conservative members of the Conservative Party in Scotland who are trying to throw anything at the wall, hoping it will stick. And, they understand that Nicola Sturgeon is very popular in Scotland. They understand that she's much more popular than the Conservative Party, much more popular than Boris Johnson. And they're trying to tear her down. And they see this as another opportunity. But I don't think the Scottish people are on board with the Conservative Party here.
Not to give his or her name, said, this man is the future King of Scotland. She's no right to try to stop him. It's unsubtle.
Actually, no, I'm not an expert on Scotland, but as far as I know, he would be King of the Scots, not King of Scotland.
And I think it will backfire on her. A lot of loyalist Scots would be pretty appalled that she would behave in such a rude manner.
Once again, you don't hear what she said. All we've heard, and look, I've been doing some research on this, and all I can see is that they advised the royal family that there were some restrictions, that there are restrictions in different parts of Scotland at the moment. Not that they didn't say you mustn't come here, get the hell out of Scotland or anything like that. But once again, it's an attempt to inflate a minor issue and turn it into a huge problem.
Now, the couple appeared oblivious to the furore as they were welcomed with bagpipes in Edinburgh. This is who they were meeting, before meeting staff with Scottish Ambulance Service. Later, they again took the train to visit pupils at Holy Trinity First School in Berwick-upon-Tweed in Northumberland. Now, that's right on the border. Northumberland is England.
Now, once again, I don't have a problem with them doing any of this. The problem I have is this the right time to be doing it? I understand that most of these events are planned months in advance. This is, something that may be planned even a year ago. Was it right to go ahead with it while Scotland is in a tiered lockdown or a tiered restriction system?
There were 175 antler-wearing pupils, some of them from north of the border. So here we are, William and Kate, and I'm sure they realise it's their duty, but they'd probably rather spend time with their growing family, but they realise that they have to step up. They go to Scotland, and this is how Nicola Sturgeon responds. I think it's absolutely appalling, but does...
What is appalling? By suggesting that there are restrictions and they have to follow the rules. We've complained before about having a two-tier system, rules for one group of people and everyone else having different rules, in the same way that Dominic Cummins was able to break rules and not get punished, while a member of the public, if they broke the rules, they would receive a fine. I'm not saying that Will and Kate should receive a fine, but surely they should act with prudence. Understand, there is an issue here. Is it possible for us maybe to modify our itinerary and avoid a risk of spreading this pandemic?
She speak for Scotland, and might this backfire? Jonathan in Finchley. Jonathan, your reaction. Good morning.
Hi, Nick. I just think this is appalling. William and Kate are making this trip for humanitarian reasons. They want to thank people all over their United Kingdom, which...
But nobody's arguing about this. The problem is the timing.
Still is united, despite the best efforts of Nicola Sturgeon, and she has some reason not to accept them. I mean, it's a disgrace. What is she seeking publicity for herself? Seeking publicity for her cause?
No, there's somebody seeking publicity, but it's not Nicola Sturgeon. It's members of the Conservative Party in Scotland. As I said before, they're trying to throw whatever they can at Nicola Sturgeon and hoping something will stick. They attacked her on the pandemic, even though she's respected in her dealings on the pandemic. She has a higher approval rating than Boris Johnson. They can't cope with that. They want to tear her down. They understand that, they need to promote the union, but the Scottish people are growing more and more anti-union. So instead of actually presenting arguments for the union, presenting arguments for their position, they can't. What they do instead is they attack the Scotland as an independent country, or they attack the next option they have on the table, which is Nicola Sturgeon.
I mean, surely, with any decent Scot, this will backfire. Surely.
Well, what would be interesting would be to hear from a Scots Nats MP, because while I respect their desire to be an independent nation, I can't imagine...
No, you do not. Honestly, now Nick is attempting to play devil's advocate here. And, look, I'm just respecting them as ordinary people and respecting them as Scots. I respect them wanting to be an independent nation. Then why didn't you explain the reality on the ground? Why didn't you mention how, look, there is a pandemic here. Let's have a discussion on whether it was a right idea for Will and Kate. I don't know why I keep saying Nick and Kate. I don't think Kate would be too happy with that. With Will and Kate traveling north of the border into an area that has restrictions. If ordinary people are being advised not to do it, why are the royal family doing it? I understand they're doing it for humanitarian reasons. Once again, I don't have a problem with that. The issue I have is, why are they doing it now? Why not wait another few months? Wait until the restrictions have been eased and then do it.
Imagine many of them would subscribe to showing rudeness or discourtesy to any senior members, any members, or certainly senior members of the royal family.
Look,
See the problem here? He hasn't explained how she was being rude. He's just assumed that she's been rude. He's pretending that she has been rude. He wants people to think, look, she's been rude. Now let's talk about how she was rude, or let's actually talk about how we should react to her rudeness. He hasn't actually presented any evidence that she's been rude.
I'm a Republican, but I they're going for the best possible motives. Do you think they want to spend 3 days without their family on the train? No, of course they
Probably
don't.
not. No. The young mum probably wants to be with her children, I would have thought.
And are they breaking?
No, they're not. No, because this
they're not breaking any rule.
No, because this is you're allowed to travel across the border from England to Scotland, or indeed England to Wales, if it's for work purposes. And they're not going there for the joy of their hearts. They're not going there on a shopping trip. They're going there, in this instance, to thank staff from the Scottish Ambulance Service.
It's appalling. Yeah. It really is. And this is a.
But nobody's saying that they're not. Nobody's saying that they're going there to for a holiday or anything like that. Once again, the problem is the timing. Is it the right time to go to Scotland when there is a pandemic on the rampage? I don't think it's rude of Nicola Sturgeon to highlight this fact. Once again, Nick Ferrari is ignoring the reality on the ground and just going with the assumption that, oh, well, she said something rude, and his source is a Conservative MP. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.